Okay, we're in week 3 already. I had fun getting ready for this week and doing some research. So I think you'll be interested in some of the things that we will be working with this week. You have your Sketchfab project due this week, and I know that it says in the rubric degree of difficulty. I think this program's a little bit difficult to use if you've never used it before, so don't worry about that. If you can get a drawing in there that's simple and has more than, we don't want just a two-dimensional object. It's got to be three-dimensional. If you can do that and it's not super complicated, you get full credit for this. Don't try to make this really, really complicated unless you're very good at it. And I'm going to show you an example of, let's see, one that I was looking at. So here's one on Sketchfab. And what I really like about Sketchfab is that you can move it around all 360 degrees, which is cool and fun to work with. But it's not a super easy program to use. So make sure that you've looked at those tutorials. Hopefully you did that a little bit last week because this will take you some time to master. And really, I'm expecting something like a cube. If you can do this, I would be super impressed. I mean, there are professionals in here doing rhinoceroses and all. Don't shoot for that unless you're really good at this already. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. So this week we're talking about social media and augmented reality. And social media, if you're not using it as a teacher, you're missing a great way to communicate with parents and the outside world. I think one of the best tools, and I don't use it as much as I should, is Twitter, because there's lots of people putting a lot of professional learning out there, doing podcasts, hosting shows on Twitter, lots of great learning out there. And I think I put this link, I believe I put this link on the Blackboard, teacher accounts that you should follow. Just people that are really into like science or social media or love for teachers, just anything about that that you might want to follow. I follow a principal called George Corcus, and he talks about how he uses professional social media in a school and how he develops a culture of innovation and sharing, and I really like him. So try and look at a couple of those on that. Facebook, parents still use this. In fact, there's a lot of research that shows that they're on there about, 3 hours a day, which is a little bit crazy, but you can still use this to the benefit of communicating with parents. And then I love Pinterest. It's a rabbit hole I get stuck in sometimes, but you can find great ideas and then share ideas that you've done. Some of the things I really like on Pinterest is when they do that nailed it and they show like what they showed on Pinterest and they showed the product that actually I could create. Fun, but a lot of good things. But you got to be careful. Just like in any social media, there are trolls out there that will say horrible things, and you got to watch those comments and warn your kids about them. My daughter does a social media account for her art, and she gets trolls on there that say horrible things. And she's 28 years old, and she has a hard time with it. But just warn your kids that there are horrible people out there that do horrible things. So some ideas for kids using social media. I really thought this was fun. It's called, I put on a link to this, to Google Slides, where you can have the kids create an account, a fake account on Google Slides for a mythical person or a person in history, and kind of a fun way to see what they're doing. I gave you an example here of one of a 6th grade projects that was in our school district. You can also do fake book. It's an online program also to create a Facebook page. I really like Google Sites for creating a website and then putting on blogs and podcasts. Super easy way to create a website. And if you're not having your kids post there, it's a great way to do it. Audacity is a wonderful way to do podcasts. Super easy to use. Record right from their computer or their Chromebook. And then you can have them reading, or you can have them doing a dialogue of something, or doing a little play that the parents could listen to. But having kids do podcasts is very powerful. And then probably my favorite one is YouTube. You can create your own channel for your class. Kids can be explaining how to do math projects or showing the steps in a science experiment. And this is good not only for them to get those presentation skills and use that media, but also for kids that are at home. Maybe they've missed something or they're out sick. Great way to continue your classroom. So augmented reality, and this is what I had a lot of fun researching this week. Lots of cool little apps that I found that I kind of shared with my teachers, like, what? I've never even heard of this. There are lots of things that people already play with and probably didn't know that they were augmented reality, or maybe they did. There's a difference between virtual reality and augmented reality. So in virtual reality, that's where you're going to have goggles on, or you're going to have that Google Cardboard, and it's where you kind of immersed in the whole environment. Augmented reality is when something is kind of added and manipulated in your environment. So you still see your classroom, and then you have an object in there. I have a video of Quiver. It's a really simple app that you can just do to your phone, and I downloaded a coloring page and I colored it. No special markers, no special crayons or anything, just I used Sharpies, and then I showed it. I put that on Facebook, and the teacher was like, "This is amazing." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is old technology." So I guess I need to do a little bit more training of getting out with my group and making sure that they are seeing some of these things, but really fun. So some of real life applications, you can get the IKEA Place, and you can try out furniture in your house to make sure it's going to fit. Sports vision has changed the way people watch sports. You can stand on the field, you can track how the baseball pitch went in and see it from all different angles. I like this one. I haven't even tried it. Makeup Genius, you can try a product on your face. So you take a picture of your face and you try the different kinds of makeup before you buy it. So that's kind of fun. And I kind of enjoy a glass of wine. So this is, you can take a picture of a picture of your wine glass, and it will, not wine glass, wine bottle, and it will tell you all about the wine and keep track of which ones you liked. So kind of cool. And then probably the most famous augmented reality is Pokemon Go. Lots and lots of fun. I wish we could use it a little bit more on campus, because I think it would be a great way for kids to get out and play a little bit. So there are 3 different ways that AR is developed. And I'm not really going to go into this because it's not that important that you understand it, but understanding that it's done with mapping your location and putting something in that location using a code or using a visual trigger. So there's SLAM, there's recognition based, and there's location based. So, and that's more for GPSs and stuff. And I have this, if you want to go back and really read this, I'll put this link up too on the webpage so you can go back and look at it on our classroom. So when did it start? And I was kind of surprised by this. It started in the 1960s. That was the first time that they were working with it. I went to look for the Julia Martin when she's dancing with the objects in cyberspace, but I don't see a recording of it, or at least I can't find one on YouTube. So I thought that would be kind of cool to see, and that it, you know, several years later gets down to us in the public. But just interesting that they had started it so long ago and were using it by Boeing to develop things. I thought that's kind of interesting. They're predicting that this is probably going to be the big thing coming up in education, maybe even more than virtual reality, augmented reality, because several people at the same time can interact with it instead of the virtual world where you kind of are in, well, you can still in the virtual world work with other people, but it costs a lot more to do than the augmented reality. So some predictions there. And then they have e-commerce, you know, like you can try on clothes, you can try on makeup, marketing and gaming, obviously, but I think they left out a big field here, which is education. One of the apps that you can try out is 4D chemistry, and you can see how chemicals react together. Anatomy, and you can see how to open up a body and how the heart works and pull things apart. So some really great things in education. So what are you going to use with kids? Quiver, super easy to use. It's coloring, it's fast, it's easy. I don't know how educational it is, but kids just love it. Visible bodies in that 4D anatomy are wonderful. Study Marvel for chemistry is a great one. And there are tons and tons of these. And I put a link on our Blackboard page so you can see a lot of them. But one of them I really like was HP Reveal, where you link the AR app to like a student's artwork, and then when they go, that trigger comes on your phone or your iPad, it can link to a video of a kid maybe reading their essay or talking about their artwork. I thought that was a cool application to get kids talking and writing in the classroom. Okay, so next week, you're going to be working on an emerging technology project. So you're going to think of something that you're going to explore. We have a Google Sheet that you're going to fill out, and don't get any duplicates. So if somebody's going to do, I don't know, like the chemistry AR app, you choose something else, okay? Creative presentation. So don't just do the same old thing. Do something a little bit different. Maybe add AR to it or a video to it. And of course, always cite your sources when you're doing anything. Okay, and there's my sources for this week. And I've included more on our page, but have a great week. And if you have any questions, give me a call.